sanıyorsun sen?
Hiç.
I just found it really interesting that that letter that she found from her mother, where it says to not enter his world, he's in search of happiness, and I guess it just kind of shows like how, like it's how we, like we tend to, or even like I tend to search for happiness in like all the wrong places. And I mean, it's very vague at the beginning, but you can kind of see the damage of everything through the daughter and her behavior, and it all just culminates in this like big final scene where I was not expecting that at all, to see the father in that state. But I mean, it's just like that's his search for happiness, and then like unfortunately you just get to see like all the damage around it too. It's sad.
Just like the mom said, stay out of her world. The next scene, she gets into his world by accident. She sees who she's really about. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting kind of little touches in this movie.
Her performance was amazing, and I loved her as an actor. I thought that I saw so many sides to her and what she was going through, and he as well. I thought the acting was superb in the film. The problem that I had with it was that letter. It seemed to come at the right place, and if I had a suitcase that was my mother's, like you see her discovering it, I thought it was in her father's room, but in fact it was in her room. It was there all the time, and so it just seemed to fit into the story that she read it at the right time, and then she made the decision to leave. Maybe other people have other ideas about that, but it just seemed like it was too convenient to me, and I didn't quite believe it. I didn't trust that.
Did she read it, or did she reread it?
Yeah.
It might have been something that she's looked at in the past, and she dug it out and looked at it again, so.
Yeah.
And this time it gave her whatever she needed to get over the top and leave.
Yeah, totally. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because it seems like she would keep on going back to this suitcase over and over and over again, right?
I thought it was like a play. That was really strange to me. That it felt like a play all the time. And as a film, maybe I would expect some things to be more natural, like finding the letter or the things that she did, the movement, the father. I don't know if it's maybe my prejudice or something, but it's more acceptable. I don't know why in a play, but in a film, I just found it a bit strange.
I felt the same way, like it was a little bit, if it was a long narrative, that would have gave time for themes and concepts and characters to be explored. It would have maybe made it all a little bit more believable. Because it's a short, it was probably a little bit challenging to actually believe this concept. Hence I found it very strange that he was cross-dressing. I didn't see the signs besides that. And maybe if there was more time, I think maybe the director could have explored and you could have built that up a little bit, but I also felt the same way. It was all kind of like, it was a little bit challenging to believe any of it.
The space, it felt like a theater. It didn't feel like a studio or a normal house. You will see out the window, and it was weird, and where the door came from, like, I think maybe they come from a theater background, and that's what it feels like. So I think that there was a nice concept in there, but it was missed in some other elements that failed to work the film as a whole.
But you also got to remember, this is told through the point of view of the female character, so whatever she sees is what the audience
I thought that the film was charming. There was an element of surprise in all of these scenes, and I think that the mise-en-scène was kind of reduced on purpose, and it had a charm of the Amelie in a way for me, in the main character. It was very playful, and I thought that it was telling the story really very well in its own way.
I just said I also did find the film quite charming, that I was, reflecting on these past few comments, or like how unexpected the ending was, and I was thinking about the idea, you know, that like, you know, if a gun's gonna be fired in the third act, it should be hanging on the wall in the first act, kind of idea. But then I thought, oh, I wonder what I would think if I watched it again. But then I thought, you know, like that very first scene, when the father walked in with the motorcycle helmet, my initial reaction was that he was this, you know, badass rebel guy. And then that wasn't him at all, and I forgot that I had thought that. But then at the end, he was sort of portrayed in this unexpected transgressive uniform. So I'm maybe connecting those two things in terms of, yeah, I didn't see it coming, but they fooled me enough that I forgot that my initial reaction was that he was this rebellious person.
I didn't quite understand why she left. Didn't call 911, just left.
I really liked her spirit. I mean, the father was trying to, you know, was that depressing person, but she kept trying to make herself happy. I just really liked that about her. Like, she had such a strong spirit. And I think she will survive that whole disabled family, dysfunctional family.
I think the opening image kind of like the bird kind of gave us like its own, how it's like very quirky and random, like it's just a random ornament, like how things happen randomly in the movie. And also like, I thought it was weird, just like how it ended, you know, how she just left. I thought that was very quirky, very random. Yeah, and also like how we don't know if she drew the picture at the end, like how things sort of just came about very randomly, kind of, and then it ended with the bird as well. They felt guilty to show that they were happy or trying to move on past the death of, you know, her mom. Like, she was trying to be happy and get rid of those feelings and like bring happiness and find happiness. And he was also, as we saw, but they were kind of like, he was repressing it and kind of like holding her back as well.
The whole point might have been there didn't have to be any signs for somebody living in a very difficult thing to live with. They kind of have to be secretive. Maybe they just can't get emotions out with their family the way they need to be communicating, because it's just such an unaccepted thing still. And they're kind of hiding out, and they're just kind of they could be trying to make communication, but it's not coming out in a loving way, you know, at that point.
Yeah, totally. It's like, yeah, he's an overly aggressive man, angry, like he's obviously compensating for something, right? So, is there a last comment to make before we